All right. What is up, you guys? It's your boy Rob, Hollow Avarice, back again with some gaming goodness. Today, I do plan on doing a little bit of gaming, but before I dove into that, I wanted to have a quick chat. Because it's New Year's Eve. It's the end of 2024. And I've been hearing a lot of people talking online. Was 2024 a bad year for gaming or a good year for gaming? People have been like, there's been a lot of yapping from the usual talking heads saying, oh, it's the most woke and therefore worst year gaming's ever had. Or people saying, no, there's actually a lot of really high highs this year. So I'm going to do the same thing I did last year with a overview of all the games I played this year, and I'll probably do a ranking. But I wanted to think on the greater whole, was it a good year for gaming? Let me turn the... Yeah, I'll leave that on, actually. Let's, So we've done a lot of gaming this year. A lot. This is just the big stuff. This is what I did on stream. There was a few things I did off stream, like that I dabbled in that I'm not really gonna count. But this is the big thing. There are a few other games. You may notice a few glaring plot holes in my Game of the Year list. Games that I didn't play. But if you watched any of my content, you know I probably didn't get around to them, or they were too big of a time commitment, and I just didn't want to start them. But yeah, overall, I think, just looking at our initial list, I think most of the games that I played came out this year. The vast majority of the games I played were this year's titles. So I think, on the whole, this year was great. I had a really good time gaming this year. And I'd say the highs definitely beat the lows, you know? My biggest time sink has been my biggest time sink for a few years now. It's been Genshin Impact. You may notice that Genshin is on here like 6 times, because I did each individual patch for Genshin. Do I think that's necessary? No. Did I do it? Yeah. We started this year, we still got 6 hours left, with the Lantern Rite. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me pull up all of my list. I'm also not counting games that I started last year and finished this year, like Alan Wake, Trek to Yomi, Anno Mutationum, Live Alive. Though there were some games that I started during last year's Gamesmas that I actually finished during this year. So I'm not going to count those towards this list. Although if I would, Anno Mutationum would be very high. I loved that game. Right. Well, let's start with Genshin 4.4. Which was Lantern Rite. That introduced a new area in Liyue with Chenyu Vale. The Lantern Rite itself was beautiful. It had new characters like Jinyun and Gaming. Chenyu Vale was so much fun to navigate. And Gaming and Jinyun were really cool, unexpected characters. But I thought the Lantern Rite was beautiful. So I'm going to start us off in a good place. I think that was a good way to start the year. That's how we rung in the new year, right? I mean, they came out in February? But it's fine. I started technically playing it at the end of the year, but this was the year that I started streaming Fortnite. I did not do what I did with Genshin and break Fortnite up into 800 chapters and seasons. So I'm just going to take this chance to talk about Fortnite as a whole. Let's look up Fortnite 2024 chapters, right? Or all seasons for 2024. So 2024 was a lot of Chapter 5 and the beginning of Chapter 6, right? This was the Greek gods, which I genuinely loved. I'm a huge Greek mythology fiend. I literally studied it in school. I went to, in college, Greco-Roman mythology, which was a waste of a class in retrospect, but I still had a great time. Really fun. Like the chain of Hades was a lot of fun. The lightning bolt was broken but could be punished very easily. Same with the wings. The wings could be punished very easily, but I thought they were a lot of fun and they had some really amazing mobility options. I liked the story. I think the story has not been amazing the past few seasons, but I don't think it's as bad as people have been saying. At least they had a story in Season 2, unlike Season 1, The Underground. We had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles this year. That's good. Which was a lot of fun. Right, the Greek mythology. Aphrodite and all that stuff's really cool. Chapter 5, Season 3 was Wrecked, which was incredibly controversial. It was the opening of Pandora's Box, which I missed. The giant lightning summoning the storm, which I missed. I don't like the limited time events. I thought they were but it summoned the wasteland. People hated it. I'm a noob. I'm fine admitting that. I loved it. I died to cars hundreds of times, but when I was in the car, it was just a fun power fantasy. It felt fun. I was fine with the nerfs that they gave. It still felt good. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think people complained and whined too much. Almost used the other word. I liked the characters. Yeah, like the mechanic was just a really cool design. Wish we got to see a little bit more of Megalodon. I wish he got to do a little bit more as a villain. But yeah, no, as a whole, I liked it. And Chapter 5, Season 4. What was that again? Doctor Doom, the Marvel season. Awesome. So cool. Emma Frost, Gwenpool, bringing back new variants of old skins like Iron Man, War Machine, Shuri as Shuri Black Panther, and Doom himself was so cool, and I did take part in the Doom boss, which was awesome. Yeah, no, really, really solid season. Fortnite Remix. It was cool to see the OG, or to see this remix of 2, and play with all these older things. I thought it was neat, and I loved the musical take that they did it with M, with Snoop, with Ice Spice and Juice, and that concert was phenomenal. And so far, I'm enjoying. I really love the map for Chapter 6, Season 1. The map's amazing, and that they've already started implementing winter changes with the snow. I love the Japanese feel, the Onis, the masks, the mythology. I'm really digging the current season. So, on the whole, I think Fortnite's been in a really good place this year. I've probably spent a little too much money on it, so I'm gonna put it in B. Because it's probably the game that I've spent the most time on, aside from Genshin, because I do my dailies, I do Rocket Racing once a week, I do the music stuff once a week for all the Fortnite Festival. I do the Lego a bit now because it's the easiest way to get experience, because now I'm just kind of like, I finished the base battle pass and I'm trying to get all the extra levels, but it's every other level now you get it's weird. But yeah, no, Fortnite's been in a good position, so I'm fine with it. Then came my most hype game of the year, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And just so good. You know what? I don't want to listen to just this music in the background. I'm going to put on some actual music. Let me, I got a license-free thing right here that I've used before. Gaming. Some Fantasy Quest. Alright, there we go. So I'll just play that in the background. Or I'll lower it a bit. There you go. Yeah. Final Fantasy VII was phenomenal. Literally... starting in... oh god, where did we start? So starting with the Nibelheim flashback, right? And Cloud's story. The march to Junon. Oh, Shinra on the march at Junon was so much fun. Disguising yourself as a Shinra soldier and doing all that little side quest. I think the pacing was a little off in parts of the game. Because of the many mini games, many of which were very well designed. Don't get me wrong, beautifully designed, a lot of fun. I'll say it right now, Queen's Blood is one of the most fun I've had all year. I dove deep into Queen's Blood. I loved that. So it's not a shock that this is gonna go at S. Is it my game of the year personally? I don't think so. And I'll get to that in a minute. But on the whole, the game was beautiful, visually stunning, so well acted. I had issues with the ending, and if you go watch my playthrough, which is the playlist is over on YouTube, you can actually watch every single one of these over on my YouTube. Final Fantasy VII is a near perfect game. It's phenomenal. Truly groundbreaking. Okay, does it just repeat? Or does it go to the next? Whatever, okay. Yeah, Cloud is amazing. Tifa's incredible. Playing as Red was so much fun. Cait Sith was... I love how much they fleshed out both Red and Cait's story. Barrett's story was handled beautifully. I love what they're doing with Yuffie and how they're building on her character before we get to her homeland in Part 3. Before we deal with all of that. I'm very excited to see how they're going to incorporate Vincent and Cid. Some of the stuff with Aerith was handled questionably. I also like what they're doing with the Turks and how they're building on that and how they're incorporating, in I think a very good way, a lot of the extraneous material from the greater Final Fantasy VII universe, from Before Crisis, from Ever Crisis. And I am interested to see what else they do with that. Yeah? So it's still a near perfect game. Then came Genshin 4.5, which was Chiori. Trying to think what else is during that event. I'm going through my videos on my other monitor, and it's just all Final Fantasy VII because that's what dominated Oh, it was the alchemy event. It was some Arataki Ito stuff. Yeah, it was fine. I'll put it there. I like Chiori as a character. It was fine. Corel region. The Golden Saucer was beautiful. Cosmo Canyon was phenomenal. All right. Princess Peach Showtime. I was not expecting a lot from Princess Peach Showtime. I was expecting it to be good because it's a Nintendo, like a decently made Nintendo property. But basing it off the DS game, I wasn't expecting groundbreaking. But no, Princess Peach Showtime was great. I'm gonna put it at high B or low A. I'm gonna put it at low A for now. Some of the worlds, the ninja worlds, were super fun. The Swordsman Peach, incredible gameplay. Detective Peach puzzles were fun. The ice skating ones were surprisingly fun. The Phantom Thief, the cooking one was all right. The cowgirl one was all right. The future like Senkai Hero or Super Sentai Peach, awesome. There was some really fun, funny moments in that game, and it was a sweet game with a lot of heart and really good variety. Way better than I thought it was going to be. Next came Genshin 4.6. Kicked off with, can I say, the Song of Burning Embers animation, which was so beautiful. It was Arlecchino's story. It was Perouer and oh god, it was so good. It was the best Genshin of 4. I'll say that. Yeah, it was so cool. The story I felt like was a little long, but it was really, really well done. Next up, a game that wasn't my usual fare, Unicorn Overlord. Oh wait, 4.6, I will say, also had the new area with Petrichor and the Subterranean Sea, Capitolium, Old Remuria, all of that. Next up, not my typical game. In style, absolutely, because it was those hard anime visuals and the strateginess of it, though. I love Vanillaware. Unicorn Overlord. I really liked Unicorn Overlord. I thought it was, first of all, gorgeous. Incredible music. I'm putting it in S. I dove into that game. I went hard in that game, recruiting all 100-something characters, all 50 characters, exploring all their side stories and interactions with each other was so much fun. The gameplay I did not expect to love as much as I did. I thought it was really good. I thought it definitely deserved Best Tactic RPG of the Year because it was amazing. The character customization, the story, this grand tale spanning continents, recruiting different factions, and then balancing units and balancing factions from different units together. It was incredible. And using overworld abilities, I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. Then came a little throwback because we did a surprise DLC for Pokemon Scarlet. They were only supposed to do 2 DLCs, right? Teal Mask and Indigo Disc, which I talked about last year. But then out of nowhere, they came out with Mochi Madness. As a DLC, it's C. But for the sheer comedy of it, I'm moving it up to there. The sheer comedy of Pokemon Scarlet Mochi Madness was great. There you go. It belongs in. It was so funny. And Petron is a cutie, even though he's a baddie. Taking over people's brain and making them mochi-obsessed zombies. Weird. Weird. I dug it. Next up came Sandland. This was early summer, I believe, right? I was playing these games? Yeah. And Sandland was... You know, it was fine. I never finished the game. I got pretty far into the game. We got to the Legendary Spring. We did all that stuff. I liked a lot of the mechanics. The combat was kind of weak, but the world exploration was a lot of fun. The vehicle combat, particularly the tank combat, was pretty cool. But like the actual ground combat with Beelzebub was it. I liked a lot of the characters. I loved Prince Beelzebub. Great little character, main character. Thief was fun. You know, Rao was cool. Yeah. And I know, like there was clearly a second arc of the story building up where I kind of ended with like a hyper advanced future kingdom. But yeah. I think I experienced enough to kind of know where I stand on the game. Next up came Wuthering Waves. Now, I'm in an interesting position here because I didn't play a lot. I did one on stream and I was having a hard time with it. I think it was because I was like logged in at the wrong time and my computer was not optimized for it yet. I've played it a few more times off stream. And I can appreciate the incredible technical proficiency and the very streamlined gameplay. I'll probably put it low A. I stopped playing it because I couldn't do another gacha game. So yeah, I think there's good. Low A for me. I thought the story was pretty cool. In terms of gameplay, though, and mobility and a lot of stuff like that, it was kicking old Genshin's butt. I have no qualms about that. Then came Genshin 4.7. Oh boy. First off, Claran's story was Siegewin's story was alright, but it was all about that tearful reunion, baby. This was the Dane's quest, right? This was the reunion between the traveler siblings temporarily in a dream state. It was the capstone to the Carabear storyline. Trying to think. It was bedtime story, right? Let's go there. I don't think it was as good as the Arlecchino story, but I think I loved seeing the reunion. Let's see, what else was going on around this time? The trailer for Metaphor, the launch trailer for Dragon Age the Veilguard. Metaphor's Summer Games Fest trailer. The Echoes of Wisdom. Yes! Then came Zenless Zone Zero. It took me a minute to figure out how I felt about Zenless Zone Zero. It's a really cool, fast-paced action game. I have stopped playing it as of 1.2. I know we're on 1.3 or 4 now. So I haven't played in a patch and a half. Um, but I genuinely like it. The combat is incredibly quick and exhilarating. Some of the story beats are really beautiful. Like I whooped and cheered during the Lycon and Sharkmaid and that whole story quest. I was hooping and hollering. It was exhilarating. I was feeling. I remember feeling a lot of emotions during the Belobog story quest. It's a really good game, and has some great stories to tell. I just don't know how I feel about it, you know? I don't know if it hits as hard as Genshin does for me. And again, they're very... because I love exploration. I love digging deep into lore. I love stuff like that. And this is more hub world. This is more... it's all about the battling, which is fine if you like that. It's not 100% for me. Yeah. It's just... It is what it is, you know? Then came Genshin 4.8, Paper Genshin as I called it, Simulanka, the Black Dragon story, which is teasing the return of Durin. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there. So Genshin is kind of in this pretty good area. Yeah. Let's see, it was around here that I did the Belobog story. I thought this, with Simulanka, the temporary world we always get in the last patch was very beautiful. I love the Papercraft world. The toy world with all the weird little references was a lot of fun. Alright, next game. I was shocked how much I loved Stray Gods. I did one playthrough on stream, and I've done 2 more full playthroughs off stream. It is a murder musical mystery with a cast of gods as its players, essentially. And the variety, just all the shout-outs to Laura Bailey, whose voice is phenomenal. And every path you take in the game, following one of like the 3 core tenets of the game, it's like wisdom, courage, and like empathy. And they change the styles of music. So it's like if you're going the more aggressive, courageous route, it's more heavy rock and metal and intense music. Whereas the wisdom is this more lilting, beautiful, and the emotion is more jazz-based, and it's incredibly creative storytelling that's changing the music itself. And special shout out to the voice actor of Pan, Carrie Payton, who I got a chance to meet in October. And he's the voice of Cyborg from Teen Titans. He's Ezekiel in Walking Dead. He's a phenomenal voice actor, and he's in a lot of great things. He's incredibly talented. In addition to just being a really amazing guy, like, we talked for a solid 10 minutes. We talked about this game and his role, and I'm like, I didn't know you could sing, because this blew me away. Like, I was locked in with choosing the main characters right away. My second playthrough, I romanced Pan, because his voice is so incredible. And he was hugging me, and he was singing, and he was such a fun guy. So, just a shout out to Carrie Payton, who is the voice of this guy right here, Pan. Then Genshin 5.0 went live, and we went to Natlan. And We did technically do one Black Myth before that, I think. But, yeah, no, Natlan was... Oh, Natlan's in a weird place for me. I'm gonna put Natlan there. Because Natlan, so far in Genshin, has been very hit or miss. I love the setting. I love the mobility. For the most part, I think the Yunkasaur tongue warping thing is a worse version of what we had in Sumeru and Chenyu Vale. It's just objectively worse version because you can only do it inside a Yunkasaur or when you're playing with Kinich. And if you're doing it inside a Yunkasaur, it cuts off half your exploration and combat options. It's weird. And the setting is beautiful, and the music's incredible. The music is a highlight of Natlan. The music is, I feel like, some of the best music we've ever had in Genshin. But the story itself, it was helping Kachina at the tournament, then going into the Night Kingdom to rescue her. It had Mavwika versus Capitano. You know what I'm gonna do? And I'm actually gonna drop you there. No. I'm gonna leave you there. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I feel like that's good. Okay. Next was a throwback. It's the only game on this list that I played once already, and it was a replay. The original Paper Mario I played for on the Nintendo Switch Online. And yeah, it's a great game. I'm going to put it low B because I know it's a great game. The remake of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. The reason I replayed Paper Mario was to play Paper Mario Thousand Year Door again. And oh my god, I had so much fun with this game. It was so good. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there. It was a clean remake. It's everything I want out of Paper Mario that we haven't gotten because Nintendo put a bunch of weird edicts about what you can and can't do with the Mario franchise. Like, you can't create individualized versions of Toads or Bob-ombs. That's why we don't have characters as unique as, like, Tasty Toad or Testy Toad or the Yoshis or Admiral Bobbery or Bombette or Lady Bow. We don't have all those original characters in the new Paper Marios because of this weird edict. Which is really weird. I get they don't want it to be too confusing, but come on. We already have 3 continuities of Mario with the Paper Mario, the Mario and Luigi series, and regular Mario games. I don't think anyone would mind. You know, it's what we love. But the comedy was great. The updated graphics, the updated music, phenomenal. I loved it. Okay. Now for I think one of the biggest games of the year. I spent a long time playing Black Myth Wukong. I started Black Myth Wukong August 27th. And I played Black Myth Wukong till what, mid-September? Late September? Early October? When did I beat Black Myth Wukong? October 7th, I beat the game. I did space it out and take a lot of time. I also did do the secret boss on the 14th and did a full tier list of all the of every single boss in that game, which I loved. Again, like, we did really well. I loved Uh, I thought Chapter 1 was solid. Very well made. Chapter two's desert got a little bit annoying, but I really loved it. Chapter 3, the Snowy Mountain, was incredible. And Jubaji and the dragon boss fight. You know, let me, I'm gonna pull this over here. We're just gonna look at some of the title names. Is Black Myth Wukong Goaty on August 7th? And to my shock, the answer on many people's mind would be yes, absolutely. I'm a be King of the Monkeys. Black Myth Chapter 2. Oh, Craven the Hunter. This is when Doctor Doom was here. Zenless Zone Zero was mediocre. Star Wars Outlaws, which we're going to talk about in a second. Black Myth continues to break me, and I love it. This is beginning of Chapter 3. That was the Blue Luong on the back of the Turtle General. Pulling Kinich. Werewolves and Maids was amazing. Black Myth on the Mountain. We destroyed Chapter 4, the Spider Sisters. We wrecked that. If you recall, I was keeping a running tab of my deaths to many of those bosses. Yeah, and like we got our butt kicked a good number in Chapter 1, in Chapter 2, Tiger Vanguard kicked our butt a lot, Black Luong kicked our butt a lot. Chapter 3, the Cyan Luong, Non-Able, Yin Tiger, and Yellowbrow all kicked our butt a lot. Chapter 4, with the exception of Yellow Luong, who gave me 12 deaths, and Scorpion Lord, who gave me 3. The only person I died to was Jubaji in his second form. No other boss in Chapter 4 hurt me, because this is when I started to get into the game. We also did very, very well in Chapter 5, having only 1 death to Cloudy Mist and Misty Cloud. And that was because we were being greedy. Aside from that, not a single death. And 1 death to the balls. No death to Red Boy, no death to the Bishui-eyed Golden Beast. We kicked butt during Chapter 5. And then Chapter 6, which I played through all the way again. I played through this game 3 times. I'm on New Game Plus Plus. Or, New Game Plus Plus. Because I want to replay it one more time to get the Wukong stance in the full game. The third Poison Chief killed me. Giant Shandong killed me. Cloud Treading Deer, Fangtail General, Emerald Arm Mantis. The Great Sage's Broken Shell is such an amazing final boss fight. And Erlang Shen is the best secret boss I've ever played. So 110 deaths in the main game and 117 deaths in my second run through. And then I stopped keeping track for the third. But yeah, phenomenal. My post-game rematch, I will say, with the Great Sage's Broken Shell, 0 deaths. Beat it first try. So much fun. So you can see how much I love Black Myth Wukong. It's such a good game. The music stands alone. Singularly amazing music. Level design, I feel like, is the weakest part of the game. Not in terms of visuals. Visually stunning. Beautiful. Yes, and joke about the invisible walls. I feel like the rushing between the basic enemies to get to the bosses is the weakest part of the game. If that makes sense. I feel like that's the only part where it doesn't... Like, I died a lot. You could see I died 110 times in the base game. But I never... Very rarely did I feel it was unearned or unfair. I'm going to obviously put it in S. I'm going to have to rearrange S later. I don't know if it would be before or after Final Fantasy VII. I think it's going to... Alright. Alright. Right, what happened next? Then technically it was Star Wars Outlaws, which... Star Wars Outlaws got better. It wasn't as bad as a lot of the hype around it said, and it definitely got better as the game went on. The story did not hook me for a long time. If you go back and watch my early streams of the game, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to keep playing this on stream. I might just power through off stream. But once I got to a certain point, like once I got through later Kijimi, and parts of Tatooine, and was like infiltrating Jabba's palace, and was infiltrating the Imperial bases, and learning the secret of the people who were hunting me, that criminal enterprise, and learning their connections to the Empire and all of that, I was then in. But it took a long time to get there. It should not have. The game starts off very rough and very weak. The stealth was not strong enough to build an entire game around. Neither was the combat. They have both improved since. And when I started playing towards the end of my playthrough, after those final that 1.4 patch or 1.3 patch, it got a lot more tenable. Like basic things like carrying those powerful weapons you get upstairs with you, or up to like another level every time you climb, not immediately dropping a weapon. They made a lot of quality of life improvements that made the game a lot smoother and better. So I feel like now I would be able to say I could recommend the game at a higher level than I could when it launched. Because when it launched, I feel like it was in a very rough state. So I'm going to go ahead and put it... Yeah, I'm going to put it above Sandland. I'm going to put it there. Because I can only review the state I played it in. I thought it was a good game marred by coming out too soon. Probably should have been had another maybe 2-3 months of development. I think that would have saved the game. I truly do. I think this game came out in a very unpolished state. Obviously, they've announced that the game came out unpolished. Yves Guillemot came out and said some of the dumbest stuff I'd ever heard. Like, gamers expect games to come out in perfect working condition now. And that's not how we do things at Ubisoft. I'm like, it should be. Obviously, it should be. My problems with Ubisoft should not continue here. So we're going to move on. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah, it was a great game. I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna put it at the top of A. I think I didn't expect it to be as amazing as it was. I had no flaws with the game. It was such a different style Zelda game, and I didn't think I would love it as much as I did. And also some of the lore they revealed with Null and all of that was super cool. And very, very fascinating game. The gameplay was a lot of fun, you know? The gameplay was very unique. Um, the action was solid. Like, it was a quick, easy game, and I didn't have any flaws with it. You know? Also, was this the year of just Princess Girl bosses with Showtime and Zelda, I'm just realizing? Yeah. Did we get... I guess we got Mario Luigi Brothers Ship, which I did not play. And Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. But no new... Yeah. Yeah, I think Zelda's a near perfect game for what it is. For not being for being a top down, for not being a mainstay title. In the auspices in the halls of the Hey LaBelle, how are you? Happy New Year's Eve. Thank you very much. You have a great one. I saw you were playing Dead by Daylight the other day, but I wasn't feeling well, so I was just lurking. But I hope everything's going well. I hope 2025 greets you well. You have a great one, alright? Alright. Let's see. Yeah, I think Echoes of Wisdom did everything a top-down side game for a Zelda game should do. Better than Minish Cap, better than Link Between Worlds. Or no, I put it on the same par as Link Between Worlds, which is my favorite non-core title. Yeah, I think that's fair. Next up came Genshin 5.2, which started out rough. Introduced 3 new areas with Ochkanatlan, the Flower Feather, and the Nightwind Tribe. Chaska, which is my best pulls ever in a gacha game. I got Chaska in under 20 and her weapon in under 20. Huge. Act 3 was very rough. Act 3 was rough and I say lame. It was very meh. It was middling. Act 4, I did not expect to have me on the verge of tears. The war arc in Act 5, particularly Paimon's voice actress, had me near crying. Yeah, I've been doing better. That's what I'll say. 25 is gonna be a good year. Oh yeah, we got a lot of gaming to look forward to. 2025 is looking great. I'm excited. I'm gonna put this Genshin there. Above Mario, below Stray Gods. Alright. Then was for 2024's least expected phenomenon. The phenomenon that I didn't expect, and based on everyone's reactions to the Game Awards, no one else expected. Astrobot. And yeah, it's absolutely an S-rank game. I'm going to put it there for now. Again, I'm going to redo the orders later, probably. But Astrobot, I've watched streamers and like content creators play through Astrobot expecting it to be lame. I've gone in and watched like AlphaRad did a playthrough a few months ago, and it's like, oh, it's gonna be a cute whatever like lame kind of Nintendo ripoff platformer, and just be blown away and become obsessed with the game. I've watched a couple critics of the game who hated on it after the Game Awards, saying, all right, let's see what this garbage is, and slowly you see their shells crack as they fall in love with this tiny little robot. The game itself is just a 100% a commercial for PlayStation. Absolutely. You're literally sailing on a PlayStation controller ship and on a PS5, and the entire final battle sequence is a giant commercial, but it's so much fun. It's easy. It's a platformer made for children. The fun never stops. It was a solid 20-hour game, 30-hour game to 100% to platinum. The music, I feel, is underappreciated. The music does not get enough credit. The music is so good. It never stops being a bop. And you're just like constantly jamming. Dun, 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 dun. I love Astrobot. I love it. The gameplay is so much fun. A lot of the mechanics are so inventive. Literally, haven't played it in months. Off the top of my head, the frog gloves and the time-stopping ability. The time-stopping ability was used so creatively to, like, run along playing cards that enemies were throwing, or to freeze darts in midair to jump off darts. So cool. Really inventive, really fun power system. The levels never overstayed their welcome. There were a few challenging levels. The square, circle, X, and triangle levels were fun challenges, and that very final level atop the golden statue was awesome. I know they came out with a little bit of DLC. So I have it right here in front of me. I do want to come back in the next week and play that DLC levels. So it's definitely an S tier game. Phenomenal. Another S tier game, Metaphor ReFantazio. Done a little bit more off stream. I gotta get back and continue playing it. I've done a little bit off stream, I will say. I've been loving it. It's beautiful. In terms of, like, design, I'd say of all these, it's the best designed game of the year. And it won awards for art design and stuff like that, so highly deserved. Beautifully directed, beautifully told story, an incredibly heartfelt and deep story, and a really great take on the Persona social link system, which I always feel is kind of oddly done in the Persona games. I feel like it's done very well here. The social grace system and the social system to build your virtues and attributes is great. The combat's really smooth. The being able to restart fights with what you've learned is awesome, because the entire idea is telling stories and the power of stories, but obviously it's such a beautiful tale about persecution, tribalism, the archetypal other, we versus them, militarism, just straight up racism, and it's a beautiful allegory, but it's also a story about the power of allegories and stories. And from a storytelling perspective, very narratively satisfying. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. The nostalgia hit hard. The nostalgia hit so damn hard in Sparking Zero. I think we did a 7-hour stream to start, where we played through Goku's story. And I think parts of, like, Vegeta, maybe. Or no, we did a lot of Goku and Gohan stories. And then we did I'm pulling it up, hold on. A 6.5-hour stream where we just played Goku's story. We did a lot. Piccolo's story was a 4.5-hour stream. 4.5 hours for Vegeta's story. Another 3 hours to finish Goku and Gohan. Trunks' story, which I feel like was the best story in the game, was another 4 hours. And then we did Frieza, Goku Black, and Jiren in another 5 hours. We did so many streams of that game. 100%ed it, platinumed it on stream. It was so much fun. It was absolutely nostalgia, but it's everything I wanted out of a Sparking game, a Budokai Tenkaichi game. So is it the greatest narrative story? It's the narrative we've seen. I loved a lot of the what ifs. The what ifs made it very fresh. The gameplay was very annoying at times. I feel it was a game that annoyed me story-wise, but in terms of, like... Yeah. I'm going to put it there. Because that's where I feel like it belongs for this year, for me. For everyone, no. For me, yes. I got the collector's edition. I got my little Broly Goku statue up there. Super Broly versus Ultra Instinct Goku up there. I had a lot of fun with it, man. What can I say? I thought it was a great game. Okay. This was a dark horse that I did not expect. Sonic Shadow Generations. I played Sonic Generations years ago when it first came out. Liked it. I still want to replay Sonic Generations. It's in the stack of games right here. I'm just going to hold this up. All right, it's in the stack of games sitting right next to my PS5. It's towards the bottom, but it's right there. Because I want to go back and play Sonic Generations. I don't think I'm going to stream it. I think that might just be something I do off stream. But Shadow Generations, in and of itself, it's the year of Shadow, baby. If you haven't gone to see Sonic 3 yet in theaters, go see it, because it is surprisingly great. Or not surprisingly, because I also really liked 1 and 2. And Sonic 3 is also great. The way they obviously they make a lot of changes to Shadow's story. With Gerald Robotnik and everything, but it's done very well. The way they handle Shadow's a lot of fun, and I do want to go back, and they released free DLC where Keanu Reeves is voicing Shadow in the game. But in terms of the game, recapping Shadow's story throughout his saga from Sonic Adventure 2 onward, through Rings, through Sonic 06, through Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog the game with Black Zero and all of that. Awesome. I will say this, the gameplay was a lot of fun, particularly the 2D segments. I thought were all designed immaculately. The music did not get enough appreciation. I would have nominated Shadow Generations for music this year at the Game Awards. Hands down. I'm going to put it up here. Just below Sparking Zero and above the Simulanka story. You know what? I'm going to move these two up. Yeah. I think that's fair. Okay. Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade I did on stream. I started on stream. And I had a great time with it. And it's just a game that has fallen between the cracks and is in this pile, and I really want to get back to. And honestly, there's a very real chance I might just power through it off stream. At this point, it's a beautiful game. I've listened to the soundtrack of it, the OST, in my real life. When I'm out for walks, I just listen to the OST. It is, in my opinion, the best music we had this year was Stellar Blade. And I just talked about music with Shadow. I talked about music with Stray Gods, music with Genshin, music with Black Myth, music with Astrobot, music with Metaphor, and Final Fantasy. I think Stellar Blade's music is the best this year. The action, the combat's a lot of fun. I love the character designs. I'll be a gooner like that, but from what I've played of Stellar Blade, I can't justify putting it near the top right now, but I'll put it there for now. Now came one of the most controversial games of the year. Should it have been as controversial as it was? No. I think YouTubers, journalists, and the makers of the game all focused on the wrong things and made it about the politics and not about the game. I love the Dragon Age series. I think I've been very open about that. I love Dragon Age. One of my friends, Chris, I went to a party 2 nights ago for my friend's 30th. She is amazing. Shout out Agatha. And I saw a friend that I had not seen in about 2 years, right? Since my other friend's engagement party. Yeah. It's been about 2 years. And the thing we ended up talking about for close to half an hour was not his life, was not his new son. He has a son now. We barely mentioned it. Not his wife. Not how my life's going, not our jobs, nothing. What we talked about for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, was Dragon Age the Veilguard. Because we both love the lore. I got him hooked on Dragon Age. He had only ever played 1. I got him hooked on 2 and Inquisition, particularly with the Trespasser DLC. One of the best memories I have with this guy is we were living together at the time. I'm a night owl, so sometimes I stayed up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning playing games, would sleep for a few hours, go to work, come back, nap, repeat the whole cycle. He came out when I was going to bed at like 3:34 in the morning one day, having just finished the Trespasser DLC, which I put up there as one of the best DLCs in any game of all time. I put it up there with Undead Nightmare. I put it up there with Blood and Wine. I think the DLC for Inquisition Trespasser is phenomenal. And we talked about it for 3 hours, so I had to go to work. Till the sun came up, just talking about Dragon Age. So I love Dragon Age. I think this game had severe flaws, but was a way better game than people said. Should it be anyone's game of the year? No. If it's your game of the year, would I lambast you for it? No. Was it objectively the game of the year, though? No. I think the combat was fluid and fun. I think it's some of the best combat they've ever had, but I think the major flaw in the combat was its combat made for a multiplayer game. A lot of it was clearly focused around the setup of the setting status conditions and detonating them between characters, which is clearly a remnant of the multiplayer setup that this game was after its first reboot. Because it was originally going to be a very small, intimate, single-player heist campaign focused around stopping Solus, when it turned into a bigger multiplayer thing. But then the failure of Anthem, they changed it back to a single-player game, but it still clearly had a lot of multiplayer elements, like the fact that you couldn't play as the companions. The writing was very rough on a lot of characters. I've talked about that at length. Balara got under my skin a lot in the early game. So did parts of Tosh. So did parts of Emmerich and Dorian. But I grew to love them all as characters. I feel like there wasn't enough conflict between the group. It became very much like, yep, we're all best buddies very quickly. So I agree with that complaint that people have, that it was just a friendship simulator. I can see that. And I also didn't love the lore aspect that everything was the Ancient Elves' fault. All of that being said, the lore had some incredibly fun narrative reveals. All the stuff with the Titans was fascinating. A lot of the stuff with the old gods I didn't like, but I loved I think in terms of lore, I had a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun with, I think what doesn't get talked about enough is the beautiful level design. Treviso, Minrathos, they all feel different. They all feel beautiful, and so the levels are incredibly well designed. A little too linear. I wish we got a little more of that openness from Inquisition. A little too linear for my taste. And I wish I wish there was a little more to it. I wish the game had a little more substance. But I thought the game was very good. So I'm not going to be poo-pooing the game. I'm going to put it at the bottom. No, I'm going to put it at the top of B. I think the game was better than it got credit, you know? It was a better game than it... Yeah. Yes. Alright. Genshin 5.2. Yeah, Genshin 5.2 was kind of lacking. It was an interlude. You know, we got some cool teases with the captain and some neat little character moments, but it's just so without substance. So the Sitlali quest was fine. The Sitlali and Auroran quest. The quest is so without substance. It's so without anything. It's fun. I like exploring the area a little bit more. Yeah, I'm actually gonna put it even lower. I'm gonna put it down there. I'm gonna put it with Chiori. I feel like these quests just lacked substance. Right? Do I even have anything else to talk about with it? Let's see. This is around where we were. Oh, wait. No. 5.2 was the 3 new regions. Did 5.1 not have any new regions? It had the great story. Oh, it didn't have the new regions. Okay, so I'm actually going to bump down 5.1 to there. And I'm going to bump 5.2 up to there. It had... No. To there. It had... Is this just... I'm going to go back to this. Yeah. This was my luckiest pulls ever with Chaska. This had Ochkanatlan. This had the new navigation, mobility, all that. Alright. I feel like that's fair. I mean, I feel like a lot of Natlan just kind of blends in. Yeah. Okay. I really liked exploring Ochkanatlan. Alright, now we start... So that's every game I played up until December. And this is December. If you've been following the channel, you know I do my 25 days of games miss. 25 games in 25 days. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 26. And this is just an extra. You may notice there's 26 games and an extra Final Fantasy VII because I accidentally got 2 pictures of it. So we're not going to worry about that. Because I did 1 extra game. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. It's fine. Harry Potter Quidditch, it's fine. It was a fun little Quidditch game. I just did it on the side. I did it a few more rounds off stream after I beat it. It has a really predatory battle pass. It is a money mill. The game itself is fairly well designed for a fantasy sports ball game. You know? I was shocked how well it was designed. I really don't have a lot to say about Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Oh boy, what a disappointing game. If you go back and watch my old reactions, I kept saying how I wanted to have an open mind. I wanted to be cautiously optimistic. I trusted in Rocksteady. And then when all the reporting came out about the mismanagement, how they actually wanted to do this game. This wasn't like a thing that was forced on them by Warner Bros. They asked to do this game. How the creators of the Arkham series bailed. How they got up on out of there so quickly before the game launched because they knew the backlash, the torrent that was coming. How the game did so abysmally story-wise. The disrespect it held for the lore that people loved. The poor level design. And now that I've played it, And that's what turned me all off. All the initial reviews turned me off the game so hard that I didn't want to play it. And I played it on my first official day of Gamesmas, and oh boy, I could see what everyone was talking about. I've gone and tried to power through the story, and oh my god, it is such a slog to get through the story. It is so dull. I've only done one boss fight so far. It's not good, and I don't want to do it all again. But I'll probably continue the game off stream, and maybe when I get to the end, I'll do I'll do it on a stream as part of something else. It's the dud of the year for me. This was the biggest disappointment of the year. The special shout out for a game I did not play would go to a $40 game that came out a few months ago, and I would totally play on stream now, but I can't because it doesn't exist anymore. Concord. I'll talk about this in the context of, was this a good game or bad game for a bad year for gaming? Concord will go down invariably as the biggest flop in gaming history of all time. I think they said close to $400 million went into Concord in terms of marketing, in terms of Sony buying Firewalk Studios, in terms of development for this game, which has when people say the game has been in development for 8 years, it has not. It has in some way or form been worked on for 8 years, but development truly started, I think in 2020? So I think it's truly 4 years of development. But in some way or form, it's been kicked around. Writing has been done for it. This team has been working on bits and pieces of it when they were coming up with the idea since Harambe was alive. Think about that. Think about it, since Harambe. And it will go down invariably as one of the worst blunders in gaming history. And what I love is the secret level came out. The secret level, the show on Amazon, and looked really good. I want to pull something up. I'm going to pause this. I have not watched this. Since it was out. This is my reaction to this game. Okay, it was just, it was just quiet there for a minute. This is one of, I think you could see, I just want to get to a certain point. I was talking about how much I liked it, how everything looked cool, how all of this, people responded positively to all of this. He suck and he blow. Weird line for me to turn the volume up to. I just want you to see my reaction to one specific moment.
Nobody's dying dishonorably. Also, hey, Mark, what are you doing?
Again, really good designs. That's what's doing it for me. But I want to see gameplay. I liked these designs. There were other designs that came out that obviously got lambasted pretty hard, but this core crew, particularly this girl Hamar and this dude, the generic Star-Lord, I liked both of their designs.
Our next job is
And Tails, there you go.
First-person shooter set in the vibrant. Concord is a 5v5
There you go.
first-person shooter set in the vibrant sci-fi universe of the Concord Galaxy. In Concord, from the moment you log on, you are part of the crew of the North Star, a group of guns for hire known in our galaxy.
Just want my reaction.
Free gunners are those lucky enough to be free to roam the stars. They take high-stake jobs on worlds across wild space, where they face other fiercely competitive free gunner crews. Here's the very first look at the gameplay of Concord.
Nice. Is this going to be a good chunk of this?
It's hard work, but it's our work, and we don't take it for granted.
I think I missed him saying 5v5.
Well,
Yeah, this is game number 1.
Right on target. Yeah, you better run.
free gunners have a shot at making something of themselves, a chance to be someone.
And I think this is... He was the, And I think this is me realizing what it was.
Anyone's game. You won't survive
Fire starter over here.
the job. Go anywhere.
So he's like tanks. I'm liking how frenetic it looks. I did. I was wrong.
Well-balanced FPS that feels great.
Yeah.
to play. We focused a ton of our attention thrill shooting and its spread.
Even strategy games are really different. You're just colliding.
I don't remember where in here, but it...
Into heavily packed beat.
Yeah, so somewhere in there I talk about how I just wasn't looking forward to a new hero shooter. Why do I bring that up? Because we ended up playing a new hero shooter. With Marvel Rivals. Hey, bud. Happy New Year's, good sir. So yes, Concord will go down as one of the biggest failures of the year. And maybe of gaming of all time. And with all the refunds they gave, they truly made no money on it. But my reactions to the actual trailer and people's response to the secret level episode about Concord have both been incredibly positive. Because it's a cool concept, people just didn't want another crappy hero shooter. Which it was. It was slow, it was plotting, it wasn't as energetic. He even said I wanted it to be high energy and frenetic, which it wasn't. And the designs of a lot of the other characters weren't great. I lauded the designs of the core crew. We'll talk more about that in a second with one other game. Balatro. But a lot of people had Balatro as an S. I get that. I'd put Balatro in high A. I'd put Balatro... For me, there. I like card games. I don't love card games. Balatro was incredibly fun and incredibly addictive. I've gone back and played it a few times, quite a few times, off stream. But I have yet to download it to my phone. And it's made to be a mobile game. Like, this is the kind of game you play on the go. And in that context, I could see it becoming incredibly addictive. I started thinking about poker hands at work because of how much I was thinking about Balatro, and I could only imagine how addictive it would be if it was on my phone. So I get it. Beautifully designed, incredibly fun, great music, which you know is a big thing for me. So yeah, good. Neva. Devolver Digital. And the studio behind Grease, which I have not played yet. I had more fun with Neva than I did with Balatro. I think it was a beautiful story. It was a lot of fun. It was a quick story, too. We beat it in, 4.5, 5 hours? Beautiful story, though. I loved this puppy deer. And the weird cyclical nature of it is really interesting, and I'm very happy with how the game turned out, you know? It was probably one of the most fun streams I had. A game that is similar to Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, a game that I have played before, but received a remake this year, was Brothers. I thought it was very well done. I'd put it there. I'm actually going to move this down to there. Yeah, I'm going to move Fortnite up. Because I did have a lot of fun with Fortnite this year. But Brothers, Tales of Two Sons. a great remake of the Brothers games. Still an incredibly emotional, impactful story with no dialogue, because you don't need words. They're speaking in a language that you can understand. It's a gibberish language, and it goes to show that it's from Joseph F Studio, the same team behind A Way Out, It Takes Two, and the upcoming Split Fiction, which I'm very excited for. I really enjoyed Brothers. I thought it was a very beautiful, sweet game. Tales of Kenzera, another game like Stellar Blade that I might just say screw it and do off stream, because I had a lot of fun. It was a really well designed Metroidvania. I'm gonna put there above Brothers. I think I had more fun with it than I did with Brothers. And it's being that it's a story about grief. It's about Kenzera accepting the death of his father, and you're traveling with the god of death. The alternating between the sun and moon masks and the fire and the ice powers is a lot of fun. It has that very classic Metroidvania repathing, revisiting feel that I really like. And just we completed the first core of the story. We got to the first boss, beat them, and it was a really good time. And it's a shame that this game did not get more recognition, because it was good. It was a good game. Now, the reason I brought up Concord and that I wasn't in the mood for a hero shooter, I was big into Overwatch back in 2016, and I played it till mid 2017, late 2017. And I had a lot of fun with Overwatch when it first came out, but the predatory microtransactions got old, and it kind of drained me on hero shooters. I played with one core dedicated group. Rivals came out, and oh my god, let's talk about the gameplay first, because that's always going to be the core. It's always going to be the most important part. The gameplay of Rivals, some of the characters are slow and plodding, like Concord, but some are fast, and it's so high energy, and some characters die in like 20 seconds, in like 5 seconds, and feel like paper. But then when you get a kill, oh, it's so satisfying. I play as some of the dumb characters like Jeff, and I've been playing a lot of supports like Luna. I've been playing a lot of Cloak and Dagger. I'm getting really good with Cloak and Dagger. I started playing as the Punisher, and I'm having a lot of fun. He's very basic. My tanks, I play a lot as Penny Parker and Doctor Strange, and I've been having a lot of fun with both of them. I played a little bit of Scarlet Witch and Magneto, and they're all right. Magic has been pretty fun. So yeah, there's a lot of characters I still have yet to truly experience. I've only done a little bit of ranked. I still mainly play in quick match, but I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm having a good time. And also, I did a stream event. I really like the Jeff event. All the skins are so beautifully designed and so much fun. The skins look great, and they're fun and have such great attention to detail. The world building that they do, I dove into the lore. I have a log here where I started digging into the lore, and this is 4 pages of lore, or 3 pages of lore, and then me talking about what characters I wanted. And I was a third of the way through all the characters. I only made it through 10 characters to get all of that lore. I have so much more to dig through. I love it. I love lore. You know that. 4 different worlds, and the things they're setting up. They're clearly setting up Dracula, which is going to tie in with Blade. They're clearly setting up Null. I'm excited. There's a lot of really cool potential for what they can do. Rivals. I log in and do Rivals pretty much every day. I'm probably going to wait until the next patch to do another stream. Probably review the Battle Pass, do all that. Because I found out Battle Pass tokens don't carry over. So it's kind of pointless to do my dailies. I'll do dailies, and for the sake of like trying to get all the side stuff and achievements, but that's kind of it right now. So until the new Battle Pass comes out, I'm gonna wait, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's definitely an A game. I'm gonna put it there. Yeah, it's definitely an A rank game. It's because it's fun, like I used to have in Overwatch in 2016. It's fun, you know? And I obviously there are days where I have problems with the role where I'm playing support and I have 5 DPSs, but in quick match, I find that a lot of people are very willing to switch. That a lot of people are like, yeah, there's enough versatility where people will play Rocket Raccoon, where people will play the Hulk, where people will play Cap and Thor, and I appreciate it. You know, I have not had a lot of problem with it. I'm glad they're not introducing role queue. I have a good time with it. Next up, Immortals AVM was fine. I didn't love it. I'm absolutely not going to continue it on stream. If I do continue it, it will be off stream. For a first-person shooter magic slinger, the world's a little convoluted, but some of the gameplay mechanics are fun. I liked a lot of the acting. Parts of it feel a little generic, but I like some of the level design, like the giant under-city bridge was really cool. Yeah. I'm intrigued to learn more about, like, the magic war that's going on. But yeah, it's fine. Now, I said I had enough of gacha games when I was talking about Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero and Genshin. Genshin's my big one. There's one game that I've gone back to a few times that I played as a one-off. I'm probably never going to stream it again, but there are bits and pieces that are unnecessarily good. It is a gacha game. I am not engaged with the gacha mechanics, and I never plan to. They give me free stuff, I'll use the free stuff. Infinity Nikki has no reason to be as good as it is. It is a surprisingly fun exploration game. It has no reason to be as good as it is. It's a soothing, cozy game. I pet animals and I catch bugs and I catch fish. And the enemies are not difficult at all. But the weird jazz swing music slaps so hard. I'll pull this up. Let me turn this back on. Let me open my do I have an Infinity Nikki? There's 1 or 2 videos that I saved, but just like images like that. Like, beautiful. This is a giant library with living books as a collection of wishes. Incredible character design. Like, that's all free-to-play stuff that I just made my character look dope as hell like that. Interesting tiny little boss fights. Just, like, look at this. Again, it's a stupid, cozy game.
Ways you could never imagine.
That I just record random things for because I was shocked that I'm like... Also, Momo is such an amazing character. I put them up with Paimon as some of the best companions in a game. I'm sure I recorded this for a reason. Yeah, like this is a cutesy decoration game where it's all about getting outfits and having little outfit challenges with people. and out of nowhere this happens? Like, why? Or, I think this is the one, right? Was this the boss fight? I think this was the unnecessarily dope boss fight. Yeah, against this stupid looking thing. And it was not hard. But just listen to this music and tell me this doesn't slap. Like, listen to this. Why? See, it's literally just avoid the bubbles. And I kept it because why the hell does this like what is the budget on this game? That they're like, yeah, put in an entire swing soundtrack to the dress up game. And the budget just hits. Yeah. So I've gone back and played an unnecessarily good deal of this game for no reason. Because it's just cozy. It's a good game for no friggin' reason, and it's so confusing why it's so good. Yeah. Okay. A Little to the Left is the only other game here that I've played every single day. Aside from, like, Fortnite and Genshin. Because there's a challenge in this where you have to log in and do a puzzle every single day for 30 days in a row. I'm 20-something days into it. It's a good game. You know, it's very simple. It's just a good, soothing game. Again, I put it up with, it's a cozy game. Hey, you want to do a quick puzzle? And just do a little brain teaser? A Little to the Left is your game. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. There's also an achievement where you have to log in and do a daily puzzle for 100 days. Doesn't have to be in a row. So I'll get that in 3 months. But it's a cute game. And I've gone and I've beaten the game twice. Once with using hints and once without using hints. But being that I'd already beaten the game, I just knew all the puzzles. But they have, like, daily puzzles that you do that are some repeats and some original stuff. And it's really cool. And apparently there's DLC for the game that I haven't done. But I might, because it's a good, cozy game, you know? It's just something to do to just kind of relax to. And it's something I'll do when I'm watching something or editing or writing. Then came the Plucky Squire. And... you know, the Plucky Squire was pretty fun. It's another game that I have to finish. I'm probably going to finish it off stream. A cool game about stories. Yeah. Very cute, very funny, and it's a good story about stories. A great kids game. And the mechanic of coming out into the real world and then re-entering the book is really neat. Then came Animal Well. Really cool Metroidvania, way more of a puzzle game, and a way more in-depth Metroidvania than anything I'd ever seen before. It's way more puzzle than combat, which I like. Yeah, I'm gonna put Animal Well there. It's way more intense and requires a lot more remembering. Like, you have to unlock the ability to take notes and leave marks on the map. And you need to unlock everything. It's so in-depth. It's so detailed. And some of the challenges are genuinely hard. I've done a little bit more. I've not finished it, but I'm a good 2 or 3 hours more into the game than I was when I was on stream. And I enjoyed it. It's a incredibly well-made game. The next game, I actually plan on finishing it probably later tonight. Maybe as soon as I'm done with this list, I'm going to finish this game. It's called a slapformer, a comedy slapformer. Thank goodness you're here. It's definitely an A. That feels blasphemous to Balatro and Genshin and Stellar Blade and Marvel Rivals, but I'm going to put Thank Goodness You're Here pretty high up in A, because it is so simple, but so freaking funny. Like, why is it so funny? Oh, God, what was his name's wife? Larry's wife? Hold on, let me continue playing the music in the background. Oh, I forgot to turn the music back down. Alright, that's good. Reggie's wife. Reggie's wife could learn a thing or two. That was it. Oh, that reminds me of Reggie's wife. Reggie's wife could learn a thing or two from you, eh? Why is it so freaking funny? It's so good. And that was the end of the games for this year. That was the Game Awards night. I did that the same night as the Game Awards. After that, I started doing games from last year or 2 years ago that I'd never gotten around to, like Sifu, which I had to lower the difficulty on. I'll be real. It was a hard game. It was an intense game. A game all about parrying, which I'm not good at. But the story is so much fun. The mechanics are so cool. The slowly accumulating levels is a really neat mechanic. And it's definitely an A. I'm going to put it there. I don't know. I really liked these two. I'm going to put it there, actually. No, I got to put it there. It was, in terms of like what the game was designed to be, this tale of revenge, this Kill Bill-esque fantasy fighting game, it's brilliant. It does what it wants perfectly. Just because I suck at it doesn't mean it should suffer. Then came my water. I was just obsessed with water. I don't know why. I did Dredge, which was this slow, silent. You land in this foggy island in a fishing village, and you become their fisherman and need to do deliveries. And it's slow, and there's hints of some greater existential horror and dread lying beyond the horizon. And it was really cool. So I'm gonna do Dredge. I'm gonna put it there. I thought Dredge was really good. Then came another ocean game, very different tone, very fun, very roguelike. It's half diving game, half serving game. I'll put it up there. Dave the Diver. Very cool game. You know? Yeah. Yeah, that feels right for me. I really liked Dave the Diver. The dialogue is very funny, and you know I like comedy. Paper Mario, thank goodness you're here. That pushed them up near the top. Their comedy. And Dave the Diver is really fun. Really great cast. Love the Metroidvania. One of the only games I finished for my Games Miss Games was this existential game on sorrow and the meditative nature of grief. It's similar to Zao in that it's all about grief, but handles it so differently, and it was such a beautiful story. I'm gonna put Under the Waves right there. It's very... I love the handling of the controls. The game did crash on me like twice, I think, but the handling of the game was so well done, and the story was great. I think that's where Under the Waves belongs. It becomes a very psychological story. Next up was a game that I don't think I was in the right headspace for at the time. I feel like if I go back and play it again, not on stream, probably in my own time, it's a half Metroidvania, half harvesting farm sim. I would like it more. There actually, I believe, an anime adaptation either just came out or coming out. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin anime came out this year, and apparently it's good. Apparently it's pretty good. Came out 5 months ago. Legacy. An anime adaptation was announced. A sequel is announced in November, so they're actually getting a season 2. So short season, I'm assuming. Yeah, 13 episodes. That's cool. I don't think I was in the right headspace for it, but I can appreciate it was a well-made, technically good game. I'm going to put it at the bottom of B for me. Raji was a nice surprise. I enjoyed Raji. The story is fascinating. The music is well done. The lighting is cool. And the storytelling is cool. I think it's using these shadow puppets, which were clearly a budget decision. But I like the story. I like the voice acting. It's a little Deus Ex, like gods explaining everything, tell, don't show. And the combat's a little weak. But I think the game has potential. So I'm going to put it in high C. Or, you know, I'm actually going to put it just below Outlaws. Next up was a game I also plan on finishing, maybe tomorrow. I've been wanting to finish it for a couple days now. Call of the Sea. This story that came out 2-3 years ago. This very clearly inspired by H.P. Lovecraft and those works, with numerous references to the works of H.P. Lovecraft, on this island where this woman with a disease is searching for her missing husband who went on an expedition, but people are slowly going insane or dying in accidents, and it's really cool. I'm going to put it right there. Call of the Sea. Oh, no, I'm going to put it right there. Call of the Sea. Dead Cells. Incredibly cool. Incredibly high speed. Awesome roguelike. Where there's clearly story happening and progressing in the background, because we're like seeing characters die. We're seeing areas grow as we die and repeat the loop. It is definitely a challenging game. I'm going to put it, for me, right there. Roguelike Metroidvania. starring this headless zombie with a really cool variety of weapons and powers. I only scratched the surface of it. I got to the first big boss fight and enjoyed it. Like a Dragon Ishin. A mid-1800s, early 1800s Yakuza game. Starring the cast of the Like a Dragon Yakuza franchise. Really cool. I'll put it right. Put it right there. Really had a good time with it. Not the kind of game I'd continue on stream, but very fun. You know, cool mini games, cool stuff. Lake was fun. Lake was cute, inoffensive, cute little story. I did my first playthrough. I got to do a second playthrough of it. You're taking over your father's position as a mailman, as a postal worker, delivering in your sleepy hometown on the side of a lake. It's very chill. It kind of put me to sleep, but I liked it. It was a well-made game, well-told story, you know? But a simple story compared to, like, a more in-depth story, which we'll get to in a minute. Next up was Returnal, which was one of the PS5's early titles that I just kind of avoided, but another roguelike, but it's an action-adventure roguelike, where definitely the highest budget roguelike I've ever seen, where you're dying and returning and you're finding your corpses, and it has this existential horror as you're on this alien planet. Really cool game. I'm gonna put it up there. Not for me, I don't think. So, you know, I'm actually gonna put it a little lower. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there. Beautiful production value, really cool power system, with the parasites and the guns and the secondary firing ability. All that was really neat. Enemy design was really fascinating. This weird, tentacly, again, it goes cosmic horror. We finished the first area and made our way into the desert, and that's where I called it. Again, not the kind of game I'm going to finish on stream, but definitely something to keep an eye on for me to keep playing. Now for my final 2 games of the year. One of them, I'm going to do tonight, part 4 of Life is Strange is tonight. So I'm actually going to do Life is Strange first. And I'm really enjoying Life is Strange. I'm going to put it there. Double exposure. I'm really enjoying the story, the continuation of Max's story. It's done really well. I'm obviously bummed Chloe's not in it, but this weird alternate timeline power is really fascinating, and I'm very interested to see where the story goes. I'm not going to say too much of it here because I want to finish it tomorrow night. Now for a game that I did not expect. It's been on my list for years. I've had it downloaded on my PS4 for years, and so I re-downloaded it to my PS5, and I just never played it. What Remains of Edith Finch is one of my, I think, the best stories I've ever played in a video game. I talked to a crew, Dragon Therian, Mr. Brightside, Vesage, for like a couple hours as I was playing that game, and it was such a beautiful story about the destructive power of grief. Whereas Zhao and, to an extent, Brothers, which was the other one about grief, and Under the Waves, were all about grief and understanding loss and moving on from loss or accepting loss. This was about the cycles of generational trauma and grief, and holy cow, it hit so hard. Especially that ending. That one scene with the kid, with the baby, oh my god, it hit so hard. So that's my games this year. This is what I played this year. I played 6 games that I would describe as genre-defining and some of the best games I've ever played. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 instances of amazing games. Again, a lot of them were Genshin, which I clearly have a bias towards. These were all good games that I would play again. And then these were all games that also I played. So let's talk about it. From the bottom up. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, it belongs in D. It was a dud. C, Star Wars Outlaws, Raji, Sandland. I'd say these three are all worth a try, but are held back by flaws. Same with Immortals of AVM, same by Quidditch. Quidditch is held back by, it's just kind of like, it is what it is. There's not a lot of content, and it's really predatory microtransactions. All the Bs, I think, are absolutely worth playing. And a lot of them are free if you have PlayStation Plus or Games Pass. So they're worth looking to see if they're on there, if you have those. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin was good. The original Paper Mario was on Nintendo Switch Online for free, or for the cost of Nintendo Switch Online. Little to the Left, great game. I'm going to skip over all the Genshins. Lake was a quaint story. I'm actually going to switch Dredge and Under the Waves, and I'm just going to move Under the Waves to there. The Scarlet Violet DLC was cool. Dredge was neat. Under the Waves was good. Zenless Zone Zero was good. Plucky Squire was great. Wuthering Waves was good. Yep. Dead Cells. Again, I know it's just because I'm in Genshin more that I like Genshin. Yeah, I feel like that's fair. Fortnite. I feel like this is fair for where Fortnite was this year. Good, not great. You know, I think Fortnite has had a good year. And I've had a good year with Fortnite. Brothers was such a beautiful story. Call of the Sea's incredible. Again, I feel like if there's a dark horse here, it's Infinity Nikki. I've seen a lot of people talking about how little they expected of this game to be just friggin' amazing. It's so well designed. And I know the Nikki series has been around for a while. Zhao, I did not expect to be as good as it was. It's from the voice actor of Bayek. I can't remember his name or his studio. He directed this game and really liked it. Veilguard, I feel like, got a lot more hate because of the political and writing sides, which... what are you going to do? The writing, I felt, was weak at times, or just bad. But the gameplay itself, especially if you pick the right class, I feel like I picked Warrior, and I feel like that was the wrong decision. I have a friend who picked one of the mages, the electric subclass of the magic user, and he's having such a good time. And that's what I've heard. I heard if you... Warrior is a great starting class, Mage is a great endgame class to keep things fresh. Sifu, this Tale of Revenge is so much fun. Life is Strange, I'm going to continue later tonight. Rivals, Stellar Blade, Princess Peach Showtime. I'm actually going to move Princess Peach Showtime up to there. Same with Marvel Rivals to there. Life is Strange to there. I'm actually going to move. Yeah, I think this is held back by Act 3. Act 4, I feel, is some of the best we've ever had for Genshin. Act 4 of this arc on Quest. Balatro, thank goodness you're here. Neva, Super Paper Mario, Shadow Generations, Sparking Zero, Stray Gods. The Arlecchino was the best part of Genshin for this year, and Legend of Zelda. I feel like I can live with A. A for awesome. You know? A for awesome. S are just the supreme rank best games I played this year, hands down. What Remains of Edith Finch, Unicorn Overlord. I feel like those two are exactly where they belong. Edith Finch was, we did it in a stream, we did it in 4 hours, we platinumed the game, and it was such a beautiful story. Unicorn Overlord took a little bit longer, took a while to beat Unicorn Overlord, had a lot of fun with it. Then come these four. what was my game of the year? I was obsessed. It took me a minute to get into Black Myth. That's why I played it in August and then didn't really get into it fully until mid-September. Because I had other things on my tab that I was playing. But once I started getting to Black Myth, I could not stop playing Black Myth. Same with Final Fantasy. I, just from the moment you said go, wanted to do more Final Fantasy. Astrobot I beat in a weekend, but it was so much fun. I feel like Metaphor is where it belongs. So I feel like these are my top 3. And I feel like, for me, my top 3 of this year are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Black Myth Wukong, and Astrobot. I feel like those are 100% my top 3. I feel like, in terms of music, the 3 of them are the best music of the year. In terms of story, I'd give it to Final Fantasy. In terms of combat, I would give it to Black Myth. In terms of gameplay loop, I'd give it to Astrobot. The gameplay loop of Astrobot is it was so short and simple, but so well done, you know? I think... You know what? I think that's fair. I think I'm going to say this is my list. I think Final Fantasy VII, the highs that I was feeling during Final Fantasy VII were unsurpassed this year. You know? I think every celebration I had when I beat a boss in Black Myth Wukong was exhilarating. And honestly, Black Myth Wukong was the reason I didn't want to do a glaring omission you'll notice here is Shadow of the Erdtree. I platinumed Elden Ring, but I didn't do Shadow of the Erdtree. And I think it's because Black Myth Wukong just scratched that itch for me, and I didn't want anything else this year out of that genre. I think Black Myth was everything I wanted it to be. I was putting off a Shadow of the Erdtree, but then when I started playing Black Myth, it scratched that itch fully. And Astrobot was... Astrobot was, I think, the perfect meal. If that makes sense. Whereas Final Fantasy VII and Black Myth Wukong were vacations. Where you eat out, you go on a trip, you're spending all this time and money investing and exploring. And while you're there, you'll have good meals and bad meals and okay meals. Astrobot was going out to dinner with your friends, and it's the perfect meal. It's the perfect night. You know? It's such a bite-sized, contained thing, so it's not as expansive. You're going to remember it for a long time, because it's the perfect night out with friends. The perfect meal. But Black Myth and Final Fantasy VII are vacations. They're experiences that you go on. If that makes sense, how I'm describing this in an insane way. And I think that's fair. I think that weird description is fair. And it's what I'm going for. And I'd rather go on a long vacation with some highs and lows than have a perfect meal, you know? I feel like in the end, it's always going to be more satisfying. And of these two vacations, which did I think was better? I feel like the narrative and the story of 7 was better. The animated interludes in Black Myth were such a highlight. And I feel like, again, the highlight of Black Myth is the combat and the boss fights. The combat in Final Fantasy VII was so fascinating, and setting up all the powers and setting up all the materias and doing all this crazy cool stuff. The combat was a lot of fun, do not get me wrong. But Black Myth was a game made around its combat. And it was made around dodging. They didn't really have a parrying. Like, beating the Stone Monkey. Beating Erlong. Beating the dragons. getting good at the game and getting powerful enough to rip through the Chapter 5 bosses. To rip through Red Boy and the Gold Beast Beasts were so satisfying. I kind of want to go and download all my videos of that again and just make a compilation of me beating every boss fight. The round and the reaction I had to when I beat them. And I'd post it up. I'm like, okay, attempt 12 against Yellow Luong. Attempt 3 against the Yellow Wind Sage. It's a good list. I'm happy with this list. Again, so if you look at, was it a good year for gaming? For me, A, B, C are games that I would play again. C and D are games that I think I was satisfied playing with what I did. Was it a good year for gaming? I'd say yes. Thank you, 2024. I'm very excited for what we got going ahead. And that's my list. Ugh. Obviously, there were so many other games that came out this year that I never got around to. Or just didn't have any interest in. Because there's games that are not for me. Racing games, a lot of FPSs that I'll play in passing. Sports games that I'll play in passing. This is a good year. All right. Well, you know what? I want to know what you think. I think I am going to stay on. I think I'm going to end this. I have a recording going. I think I'm going to end this recording, take a minute for a bio break, and then I think I'm actually going to play through and finish Thank Goodness You're Here. So if you just give me a moment, I will be right back. But for this video, which is going to go up on YouTube as its own VOD, thank you so much. And I want to hear, what were your highlights and lowlights of the year? Lowlight, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League and Concord for me. Highlights, not including What Remains of Edith Finch, because that didn't come out this year. But these 5 games, I think, were the highlights of the year. Final Fantasy, Black Myth, Astrobot, Metaphor, and Unicorn Overlord. But I'd say any game in this list. Echoes of Wisdom, Stray Gods, Shadow Generation, Sparking Zero, Thousand Year Door, Neva, Thank Goodness You're Here, Balatro, Princess Peach, Rivals, Double Exposure, Stellar Blade. These could all be considered highlights of the year. Hands down. I want to know what you think. Tell me more. And until next time, stay awesome. Peace.